CJ, where's he at? There he
I'm
is.
here. I'm here.
Is this Irish? Happy St. Patrick's Day, CJ, or
Top of the morning to you.
is that
I guess
Indian?
so. I guess so. I don't know.
Hello, welcome to the
I think we should stop before we get
too much
canceled.
green beer already or something. I'm
Yeah.
trying to be funny and it's not working. That's why I'm not a comedian.
Right.
But it is St. Patrick's
It
Day,
is.
and screw a wearing green for the next 2 weeks. I'm wearing something Duke.
Yeah.
3 weeks, whatever it is. They have 6 games, and then yes. And by the
Yep.
way, Duke got the hardest bracket that there could possibly be. So if they win it all, I'm serious. They got to go
Yeah.
through Yukon, Florida,
Wow.
Arizona, Houston again, like
Mm-mm.
St. John's. Like, dude, seriously? So if they
Wow.
win the national championship, greatest Duke team of all time, because it is
Right.
the gauntlet of gauntlets. So there's that. All right. So are we doing sports or are we doing weather? I guess
I
that's
think we
enough
should talk
sports.
some weather this morning.
We'll do weather. We'll see you on the other side, people. Minute. There we go.
Hey, you're
Hey,
back. You're back to being Mark.
yes, I had to hurry up and change it. There's 2
There you go. There
CJs.
you go.
All right. Holy crap, we're back. It is hey, let's put the title up, for goodness sakes. I got all this stuff ready to go. There it is. Welcome to Talking Weather. It's now Tuesday, March 17th. Still 2026. Dadgummit. Wow, we have a lot to talk about yesterday.
Yeah.
A lot of people think they understand physics and meteorology and communication. And I'm going to show you where you're just wrong. And I'm not trying to be that guy, but like, I'll show you. All right, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk a lot about probability today and instability and understanding a forecast. All right.
Yep, we've got a lot of post-mortem to go over after yesterday. I'm hearing the word bust thrown around a lot, and
right, a lot of hemming and hawing, as they say.
yeah.
Our YouTube audience, I'm sure there's some smart people out there. Where did that expression hemming and hawing come from? I'd like to know. Anyway, we are back. Good to see you. I was out yesterday with Scott Caseman.
Yep.
And CJ said, what's his actual name?
We're using
someday I'll tell you. It's hey.
You've told me before. I think he's told me, and it's still it's
right. And then he did the thing from Men in Black, which I actually have one of them right here. Where you go, look at the thing, and
yeah.
That's actually an old Insta360 that I ran over last March when I was covering that storm, the winter storm up in Norfolk. I had it on the front of the Tacoma and it fell off and I ran over it.
Right.
God, darn it, $500. So it sits up there as a reminder to be careful.
Right.
Yeah, we got to talk about yesterday because apparently a few feathers were ruffled and whatever, and people were upset that they are not staying in a shelter today because their home was slabbed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like going to get a colonoscopy and they come back and say, no, you don't have cancer, despite years of us telling you if you keep eating bad, you may develop colon cancer. You wouldn't be upset. You'd be like, yes, thank goodness I did the test and it was negative.
Right.
Seriously. Like, that's exactly the analogy.
Yep.
You know, there's all this technology in the medical. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself.
We'll save that rant for later.
Yes, exactly. Still haven't fixed my chair, by the way. Oh, well. All right, let's get on with it. We'll get over to, let's see if I remember how the hell to do everything. Even, you know, gone a day. And we'll see. There's allow, and we'll do this, and we'll do that. Okay. Are we where we need to be, CJ? Like down in the corner thing? Nope, there it is. That's what you like better, right? All right.
Sure, that'll work.
We'll just go with it.
We'll go.
What happened yesterday? Well, we'll explain to the best of our ability. In short, exactly what was thought that was happened according to the forecast and the discussion. It panned out pretty much as expected, especially with the word uncertainty put in there as much as it was. All right, we'll explain. And seriously, we're going to do it in an educational way, not a everybody is stupid except Mark and CJ way, because that's not what we're saying at all. We'll get there.
No, and I think that Mark, you know, there was a certain meteorologist I see out there all the time, Matthew Capucci. I think he actually hit the, you know, not everybody agrees with him. There's sometimes I don't agree with him, but he explained it in a way that I think a lot of people, they don't want to be lectured. They just want to know why.
Right.
Like,
and we're
why didn't this happen?
Right.
And that's what we're going to do for you today.
A smarter weather consumer. That's the idea. It's too bad that Jason Bateman and company already have the podcast title Smartless, because we could have done that. Weather Smartless. Anyway, record heat out west. Got to talk about that and more for just the hyperbolic. Oh my gosh, it's so hot so early. There's more to this. Believe me, and I'm going to explain that as well. And gosh darn it, it's cold back here in the east. Going to be 29 or so, 30 tonight, whatever. That's a bummer. Scott and I were talking yesterday, all that rain that we got, and we got a lot of it, probably brings out the frogs because it's getting towards springtime now. And I'm going to Office Depot and I'm getting me a new chair. I swear I am. And this cold weather, I mean, I was thinking, the frogs know? Because we don't want anyway. Like, it's just weird. We got plants blooming and all kinds of stuff. It is Tech Tuesday, and Tech Tuesday today is more of me. And instead of showing you something, I'll explain. You'll see. We had a very successful test of tech yesterday, and that'll be today's Tech Tuesday. All right. National high and low temperatures for yesterday. 99 degrees over in North Shore near the Salton Sea.
Yep.
And then good luck with this one. 24 below zero at Lake Metagoshi.
That's how I would try it.
Right. State Park. It's near Bottineau, however you say it, in North Dakota. Yeah, I'll show you that. So we have visited North Shore a few times. So you pretty much know what it's going to look like out here. So I figured let's just check on some of the cool little doodads that show up here. Let's look at Rancho Gonzales and see what that's all about. All right. So, you can get married out there at 140 degrees. That sounds exciting. So Rancho Gonzales, all kinds of ceremonies take place apparently.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Very festive.
Yeah.
Very cool. Oh, you can get there's the phone number. Book it now. Unlimited creation.
Yeah, that's awesome.
99
it almost
degrees.
Looks like, an event center or something like that.
Right. But yeah, the North Shore area, this whole region, it is going to be toasty coming up. And we'll explain that as we get further along in today's update. It's not too far from Palm Springs.
Nope.
And there's Joshua Tree National Park, beautiful area of the country. And a great album, Joshua Tree from U2. Very first concert I ever went to way back in 1987. CJ wasn't even born yet.
I wasn't even a thought.
And I was attending concerts at Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas. How about that? All right. So Lake Metagoshi, or however you say it, State Park, way up here along the border area of Canada, of course. and never visited this area. This is the first time, I mean, in person or virtually. So we'll grab our Google Street View person, and let's just throw them right in here and see what happens. What do we got? Pretty much trees everywhere because it was summertime when this was taken. Duh. August of
North
24.
Dakota?
Yeah, it's North Dakota.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Like,
yeah.
And you understand why. It's because it's near all this water.
Right. It's crazy. It's so weird seeing an actual like forest in North Dakota.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah, that's really cool. No,
but it's got to be because it's near the water. And CJ is right. Like if we grab the Street View person and throw them down here, it's a little bit more open.
But yeah, still look at all the trees.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. But yeah, I guess all the lakes there, that'll do it.
Gosh, look at this chair. Braylon was in here doing her taxes last night, so I think she messed up my chair.
Fun.
She gets a refund, not me. Those days that ship sailed. Anyway, negative 24 up here. Beautiful area. This is the Metagoshi Drive-In or something. I saw that on there. Where'd that go? There it is. Let's look at the Metagoshi Drive-In. That's a tasty burger. Oh, there it is. Cool.
That's awesome.
That's cool. Anyway, negative 24. Winter's still trying to hold on.
Yep.
And we have a deep trough. I'll just draw on this for a second. Basically, folks, the pattern right now looks like this.
Yep.
And so it's low pressure in the upper atmosphere here, high pressure building out here. Yep. And that's your talking weather for today. That's it. That sums it up.
That's basically the entire pattern for the next couple of weeks.
Right. That's the gist of it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's stop the screen share just for a moment and say hello to our YouTube folks real quick. We got Brandon. There may be more distrust in the SPC in future outbreaks that actually come to fruition after yesterday's event didn't pan out. Maybe. But I still think that, and we're going to get into this almost immediately here, I still think that most people, like a day later or so, they forgot about it. Like, really.
Well, I know there was a lot of actual areas were pulled out. I was told by some friends that live in the DC area that a lot of the government offices closed early. Yeah. There was actually a lot of impact, and I get that. That's rightfully so.
Schools canceled here. Yes, school was canceled here. Different activities, tennis, soccer, whatever. But we'll get to this.
Yeah, we'll get into that here in a minute.
Absolutely. So, hello to the YouTube chat. Keep it civil. It's okay. We're all in this together. All right. CJ and I will explain, and we'll begin that process right now. All right.
Yeah.
So SPC is where all the weather stuff starts for storms, right? Like the National Hurricane Center. Yes.
Yep. Anything severe weather-wise, the Storm Prediction Center handles that. They were originally based in Kansas City, Missouri, but now they're in, of course, the National Weather Center in Norman, Oklahoma. Yep. Very fitting that they're in the middle of Tornado Alley. And I'm hearing the word bust thrown around a lot from yesterday. That 478 high winds reports, that's not, and again, I get it, they weren't hurricane force, and we're going to explain why. But yesterday's fail mode was there, a fail mode. Every event has a fail mode.
Right. And that was explained. And so I want to unravel it.
But I can tell you, Mark, here we had trees that came down. We had power outages. And I'll tell you, when those storms came in last night, I wish I would have taken a photo. We had a supercell come right in that line, and it looked like the end of the world.
Sure. I saw some pictures down your way, Venice, that looked like exactly.
Evan Okino, he posted a great photo at the beach. Another chaser here with our Florida Storm Chasers group that is local here to the Venice area. And he was at the beach last night and got some photos. And, man, it looked impressive.
So a lot of reports overall.
Yeah.
And 2 of them tornadoes.
Yeah, just 2 tornado reports.
For that, we should be grateful.
Yes.
Clearly. Okay? So, by the way, obviously you can extract these reports and put them on your own map because that's what Ben did. I'm going to figure this out sooner rather than later, and we'll have our own way to display these because I think this just needs to be a better way to drill down. Of course, they do have excellent reports here. It's all right here, all the data.
It's all right there, all the data.
And look at all these wind reports. I mean, that's just insane.
Yep, a lot of damaging wind reports.
Yes. So there's the note from Ben.
Mhm.
1,100 damaging wind reports, 11 tornadoes reported so far, with the Mid-Atlantic fortunately spared.
Yeah.
So overall, the outbreak of severe weather going back to the previous day, a few tornadoes dotted in red here in
Right.
the southeast and the Mississippi Valley, a couple tornadoes there near Charlotte in vicinity. So let's just
Right.
look at a few posts from people. This is Tim Grooms. These popped out, and I thought I would.
Mhm.
A storm tourist. I like that. Um, I have the perfect explanation, and I wanted to see if CJ agreed with this. Perfect explanation why the forecast busted yesterday. That word I don't agree with, but that's okay. All right, we'll get to that. Severe weather events usually suck in the region because we lack the most important piece of the equation for major severe weather: steep mid-level lapse rates. Without those rapidly cooling mid-levels, updrafts end up sucking the poison from a tailpipe. I've seen it over and over and over and over and over here in the Mid-Atlantic. You need steep mid-level lap rates for top-tier severe weather to happen. Basically, what that is the cooling of the atmosphere as you go up and how fast that is. Your temperature gradient
Right.
vertically, the faster it gets cold, that's a steep mid-level lapse rate. In other words, a very tight temperature gradient. That's another way to look at that. Yes, there are always exceptions, yet for the most part, he says, without those rapidly cooling temperatures aloft, updrafts can't
Right.
maintain. So that's basically what happened in terms of the tornado threat, is we
Yep.
didn't have big sustained updrafts. All right, so that's one look
No.
at it.
So I would agree to that to an extent. But growing up in the Mid-Atlantic, one of the things, and this kind of goes hand in hand, we don't have an EML. It's
Right.
very rare that the EML gets evected over the mountains.
Explain the EML real quick.
So that's the cap. That's the capping inversion. Those are those steep mid-level lapse rates aloft,
Right.
cooling with the air with height, and that allows for more instability. And that's what gives us these explosive thunderstorms out there in the Midwest and the Great Plains. And it's a lot easier because that all is sourced from the desert Southwest. That's
Right.
where that air essentially comes from. And in this case, we really didn't have that ability. This trough was so highly amplified, and the flow was so meridional. You didn't have the chance for that EML to get advected up to the mountains, and it's very rarely that it does actually make it over.
Right.
April 15th, 2011 is one of the examples of when it does.
Right. And we're
Um,
further along in spring
mhm,
at that point
yep,
anyway.
yep.
Um, but
So I
Convective
mean,
Chronicles did a good job too, which I'm not going
he
to play
did.
it, but I want
Trey
to link
did
to it. Yep.
an amazing job. I will say, if you want a real drill down into the science about what happened,
That's it right
look at
here. So I'm
Trey's
going to
stuff. That's what I watched yesterday.
14 minutes, and we're not going to play it because it's his
No,
thing. So I want
yeah,
y'all to watch it on your own time. All right.
yep.
But this is a good one. And then Dan Robinson, this was before it all happened.
Mhm,
And this is a very prominent chaser. Okay. So a
mhm.
reasonable failure mode here for tomorrow would be if the QLCS from tonight remains organized past the mountains. This would clear most of the warm sector and lead to messy convection. And that's exactly what we got. And overall severe probabilities would be dropped quite notably.
Exactly. But
And
I
that's
still wanna
exactly what
make
we
make
got.
a point that the ceiling on the event was still there. The
Yes.
possibility, it was still there. I
Yep.
don't think people realize the type of event we just dodged,
Yeah, we were close.
which is what they were forecasting. When you're forecasting for an event, you always wanna be prepared for the worst case scenario.
Right.
And that worst case scenario yesterday would have been a major outbreak of tornadoes along one of the most populated corridors in the
Yep.
entire country.
So you don't mess around with that.
No,
Exactly.
you don't. And I think the SPC did a fantastic job with that aspect of it. Um,
Well,
you
well,
know
days ago, it showed up on the
Yeah,
day 5.
yep, it did.
And I
Absolutely
want to
right.
go back to that because down here, very important. All right. And it's mentioned in here. Um, let's see. I'll just read what they said in here, and then I'm going to point out where we start beginning to see the fail modes. Okay.
Yep,
This was issued several days before. Severe
yep,
thunderstorm potential will likely continue into Monday as an intense upper trough continues to migrate east from the Mississippi Valley toward the eastern seaboard. Intense deep layer southwesterly flow will overspread portions of the southeast. We had that. Meanwhile, 60s dew points will extend from southeast Georgia northward, etc., to the mid-Atlantic. We had that.
Mm-hmm.
Prefrontal surface troughing along the Virginia, North Carolina, Piedmont will also support backing low-level winds,
Right.
leading to enhanced low-level shear. We had that. Then this is where it was right here. Depending on how much cloud cover and warm advection precipitation occurs ahead of the cold front, stronger destabilization may be inhibited. You have to have a destabilized atmosphere, and they said that might
Yeah.
be inhibited.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, at least weak instability is forecast. That's that cape ahead of a strongly forced line of convection
Mm-hmm.
along the eastward advancing cold front. This activity alone could produce a swath of strong to severe wind gusts. They freaking nailed that 5 days out. Bam, 1,100 reports of that. Nailed it, 1,000%. A more conditional risk of supercells across the warm sector exists. Right. Conditional, it's right there. And the public doesn't understand that part.
No.
And I don't know if it's because there's too much put into one aspect of the other. That's a whole other science, the social science of it. But this is more uncertain. It was there all the way back to when this was introduced at day 5.
Yes, it was. And, I know that they upped the severe probabilities on the day of, or the day before, but this was always going to be a mainly damaging wind threat.
Right.
And the big thing is, yes, we didn't see, thankfully, those hurricane force winds. Otherwise, we'd be talking about structural damage in certain areas. But I mean, you're talking about, and I know it talked down there in the Carolinas, and I also want to make, the highest risk for supercells was always going to be over North Carolina and Virginia.
Right.
It was never going to get up to Philadelphia. It was never going to get down into South Carolina. There was that area there that there was a possibility. However, I believe they talk in there about yeah. I know they talked about it in there about the possibility of I'm trying to rate it. Sorry. I guess that's substantial instability, which there was actually substantial instability. We saw more tornadoes and stuff, tornado warnings down this way than we did up there.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, the biggest reason, and I want to kind of go into what exactly happened, Mark. Yesterday we had, rather than the short wave rounding the base of the trough earlier in the day, it came late. And we've seen what happens when that happens out in the plains. Right. Nothing. That last Oklahoma outbreak we were on out there, they had tornadoes at night and everybody called it a bust because nothing happened. Well, same idea. So since that short wave was later than what, everything out ahead of it was, you had all of that convection that kind of scoured out that instability. So the supercell threat became almost none.
Right. And I mean, even yesterday,
when
we went into the night before and into yesterday, the probabilistic tornado threat was only 15%. That's still extraordinarily low. Like in the red area. 15. If Mark Sudduth goes to the line to win the game, he's got 3 free throws. Unfortunately, he's a 15% free throw percentage. Everybody be like, God, we're gonna lose. We're gonna lose. He makes 50. He makes 15% as his career average. Dude, nobody, and then 10% in the yellow area. If somebody made 10% of their free throws and they have to win the game, people would just be, we're gonna lose. Right? Dude,
and I get it.
Where did this turn into? The tornadoes are coming from every corner of the earth. Like,
I think that the last couple of
Storm Prediction Center didn't say that. All the meteorologists that we found, nobody said that. They said this has the potential to be a big day. That kept being said over and over. Now, if there's some Facebook page or some TikTok that people saw, that's not my problem. I don't know what to tell you. If you're getting your weather from a hyperbolic, screaming Facebook page or TikTok video that has nothing but scariness, that's on you. You got to come back to this. We show you the tools, and the wind probability was 60, and that absolutely verified.
Right. And I
You know,
also, there was a tweet that Jordan Hall posted yesterday, that I retweeted because I actually kind of agreed with it. And I think a lot of this is coming out of weather Twitter. This seems to only really be a problem within the weather Twitter space for the most part. And then obviously you have the general public who is upset that a lot of them, they had to call off school, whatever. But there was a tweet that he stated that, a lot of these new age chasers, the last 3 years have not been they're outliers. We've had a lot more tornadoes, especially the photogenic ones, that we don't normally get. And he goes on to say,
trying to find it.
yeah, I'm trying to find it too. Hold on here. This was yesterday, or this was March 14th, actually. So a few days ago. But it happened to show up in my algorithm, and I thought it was pretty, relevant. Um, just because the last 3 years of chasing has been bonkers tornadoes wise doesn't mean you are all forecasting geniuses. It is not always as simple as a RRFS run to show you a squall line and call it trash for putting a 10% hatch.
Right.
And we have a lot of people, and we see this in the hurricane sphere too, Mark, the model watchers. And it's
Right.
so much more than that. It's so
Right.
much more than a model run. It's so much more than, and there's all these ways to communicate the risk. But in terms of what was forecasted yesterday, and I want to make it abundantly clear, that was always the worst case.
Right.
So when we're looking at these things, and we want to try to communicate to you guys, and I like what Katie Smith said there. Social media has made the hyperbole worse. They absolutely
Correct.
do.
That's right.
And the biggest problem is that, and this is what, we see down here, when a hurricane's coming, they're going to tell you what the worst case is going to be. With Milton, we were forecasted to get 10 to 15 feet of surge. That didn't verify. Nobody was mad. It didn't verify, but, we were staring down the barrel at our barrier islands being completely catastrophically wiped clean.
Right.
Because that's the possibility of what could happen.
Surge. Right. It's called P surge for a reason.
You always want to over prepare and underutilize. And
Right.
I will personally always put that out there. I would rather be over prepared and underutilize all of that preparedness than ever be caught without being prepared. That is when we lose lives.
And social media as a whole is not the weather enterprise.
No.
Weather enterprise, the meteorologist from the SPC on up to your trusted local meteorologist, and even at the national level, like at Fox Weather, etc. That is not, don't conflate the two, because social media starts to explode, and then you get stuff that gets out of control.
Yep.
And we've seen this chair, I'm telling you. I should just go get a different chair. Anyway, it's very distracting. And the word bust, though, nothing busted because it was not a guarantee.
No.
So that's just a complete wrong.
To me, a bust is nothing happened.
Right.
And something did happen. We had a ton of wind, and all it takes is for one of those tree branches to come down and destroy your car. You're having a bad day.
Right. And we came close. If there was more cape in the atmosphere, the instability just wasn't there, and everything was messy. And so it kept the discrete supercells from happening. And thank goodness. Otherwise, there would be slabbed neighborhoods and whatnot, like we saw back in April 16th, 2011. Right. That's as you call it, the forgotten outbreak or whatever.
Yep. That's what I refer to it, because and we saw what happened there, Mark. You saw what happened there firsthand. I mean, that's your home state, and that's the last thing I want to see anybody go through, especially now, even in the last 10 years, with how much your state has grown population wise, Virginia as well. These are some of the most populated areas of the country. You have 65 million people in the Boston, Washington corridor. The Northeast is densely populated. And that's the last thing you want, is a high-end severe weather impact potential, going into, Washington, D.C. That's 7 million people that live in and around D.C.
Right. And if the alternate scenario that there were 7 EF4 tornadoes yesterday, and there was 236 lives lost and $10 billion in damage, would everybody be here cheering the SPC about, wow, wait, they got it right? No, it would be just, well, that's too bad. Like, it would be tragic. Like, dude, like,
And Katie
and I know,
Smith, if you'll comment, I think you're from Alabama, just judging off of your history knowledge there. She's got a lot of knowledge there from the Alabama area. It seems like she was talking about the April 15th. Yeah, Alabama, that was the largest single day outbreak for Alabama for 2 weeks until the super outbreak.
and you know, the amount, unfortunately, of misinformation and whatnot that's out there, and especially stuff that's aimed towards the algorithm. I saw somebody say something recently that the SPC does not forecast for your live stream. It might have been
No, I
Paige or
love
Bryce
that.
that said that.
I love
like,
that.
right, like, whatever. So anyway, CJ and I, and hopefully most of our audience, generally understands what we're looking at. And even in my dire text to the family on the family chat, I never said anything was a certainty. There are going to be violent tornadoes tomorrow, whatever.
There's a potential.
I said, everybody needs to be paying attention. This has the potential. And I said, do you guys remember back in 2011, whatever? I said, it could be similar to that. Everybody just make sure you're keeping aware. I will be out.
Right.
I'll keep you aware. I never, ever, nobody ever says with any, anybody that has any kind of a reputation that this is going to happen. So another great example of when, even the science sometimes is not going to bail you out. 2002, Hurricane Lily was headed towards southern Louisiana, and it was a Category 4, I believe, at one point. And I was getting phone calls. I was in Morgan City with my colleague at the time, John, and people were asking, begging me to leave. I had people from FEMA, emergency managers that I knew. Mark, you got to leave. You're going to drown. It's going to be weeks before they get in there, because they were talking about a 20 to 25 foot surge pushing all the way up. What happened overnight? Lily dramatically weakened down to 80 miles per hour right before landfall. And one of the forecast discussions from Miles Lawrence, who has since retired, said at the opening of the forecast discussion something to the effect of, Lily will be one of those ones that we study for a long time as to exactly what happened.
Right.
And even that is not necessarily a forecast bust, because the potential was there for a catastrophic storm surge. And I'm just, the weather is always.
I want to flip it on the other side though there, Mark. And I want to talk about, what was the one in Mexico that slammed Acapulco?
Yeah. So, perfect example. Otis.
Those people were told to expect a tropical storm. And in 24 hours, a metropolitan area of over 1.5 million people had a Category 5 make landfall, and the metropolitan area was in the front.
None of our best models picked up on that. Is a great example, CJ.
Could we imagine if yesterday would have been, 2 EF5s going through the DC metro, or Raleigh, or Charlotte? God forbid, Charlotte. Charlotte's one of the fastest growing cities in the country.
Did I not see somebody from Michigan in politics trying to go after somebody that, why wasn't this better forecast from the?
Yeah, we did.
Right. And they had a 2% that day.
2% that day. But,
a generational tornado went through that town. And like somebody in I don't remember where they were like, we need an investigation.
Governor of Michigan.
Governor. Okay. Like, come on. That's what I mean. Like, you can't win.
No, when you're trying to predict the future, there's always room for error. It is.
Read deeper. Do your own homework. We're going to end it with this. Yeah. Do your own homework. We try to give you those tools. Okay. Read the discussions. So wall off the other stuff, all that noise, and do your own homework. Go in and read the discussion. And when you see words like uncertainty, where it might even say in there a fail mode, just do that. And don't get caught up in the worst case scenario. It's the same thing. I'll go back to the medical analogy. You're going in for an annual physical, an annual test, or that colonoscopy, whatever. Ooh, talk about colonoscopies. Yes, you can be all worked up and anxious, but just go in, do it, and the outcome will take care of itself. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's the
As
same
long
thing.
as you are prepared.
Worrying doesn't do squat. It doesn't
No,
help.
nor
So
does
do your
hoping.
homework, read, and anyway. All
Yeah.
right.
So our
That's
TED Talk, the TLDR there for the people that don't want to listen to all the back. Just be prepared.
And be grateful. This is and give these people a break. They are families, and they're watching the world burn just like we are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they don't need this. They
Nah.
need our thanks and appreciation. All right. So hats off to them. Next play, I think Coach K came up with that. Next play. You screw up, you get mad because you threw the ball to nobody and they went and, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
It
Mike
happens. All
Krzyzewski
of
said
us
that
make
all the
mistakes.
time. Next play. Exactly. All right. So that is not hyperbolic. That is a true statement. This is really bad.
Yeah.
Okay. And I want to explain this because I try to avoid hyperbole until it's absolutely necessary. And I do believe this is necessary. And I'm on top of this because the weather is very impactful to every single thing we do. It really is, from the clothes we wear to how much we pay for stuff. The freaking price of dark chocolate going through the roof because of overall a combination of a changing climate and the way mankind is bulldozing this and that and the other. It's making cacao very expensive. That's one example. I like absolutely. You should look that up.
I don't like dark chocolate, so I very rarely ever eat it.
Oh, it's good for you.
I wouldn't know. I know it's good for you. They say
part of my
it's
weight
good for
loss
you.
journey. Dark chocolate.
Yeah. That's
explain that.
My grandfather used to do that because of heart health. Sorry, don't want to. But yeah, that's.
But so it does affect.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'll. There's a brand that I get, and it's very hard to find it on sale because it used to be like $2. Now it's like $3.50.
Wow.
Anyway, weather affects everything, and I want to explain. That's a big part of what we do here on this show is try to dig deeper into the back end of the story here, the deeper part of the story, of the weather. And why is this bad? All right, let's read into it. National Weather Service, their Twitter page, it's going to get hot this week. Temperatures will soar 20 to 30 above normal, making it feel like early June than mid-March for many. Dozens of daily high temperature records are forecast to be broken or tied this week. Extreme heat warnings and heat advisories are already in place for many across California, Nevada, and Arizona. The heat will spread east and south as the week progresses. And let me just show you that real quick on the weather.gov homepage. So normally you would see this in the summer months out here in the Southwest.
Right.
And people will say, I'm sure they're already saying, especially back east over here, come on, it's the Southwest. It's supposed to be hot. You're just trying to push the climate change agenda, blah, 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 blah. Well, let me explain something to you. As far as we know, this has never happened this early, not since record keeping has began, whatever. And it's so it's early, and it's the amount of it. It's not a couple of degrees warmer than normal. We're talking 20 to 30 degrees above the benchmark. And another problem from this, it's this warm this early. You're going to melt the dickens out of the snow. All right. And you're going to wick the soil moisture out of the ground. So all that beneficial rain and snow that we had throughout the Sierra and down into Southern California, the mountains, the San Bernardino Mountains, etc., the Spring Mountains near Vegas, the Wasatch that comes through here and vicinity, that's melting away. Colorado already had a bad snow season. That's getting worse. And that is going to create a very dry situation for the potential of fire, for the watershed to dry up, and that affects all kinds of stuff from farming to areas like Phoenix and Tucson and Vegas to even exist. This is going to be a major story getting bigger and bigger as the year progresses because we are only on March 17th and we have excessive heat warnings, extreme heat warnings, in effect this early. So yes, it'll be 118 in July, and that might be a little bit warmer than average, but 108 in early March like this is a very, very bad thing to happen. Believe me. And it's not for some, I don't have a dog in this fight. I don't make more money because
Right.
we talk about a hot climate. Like, I don't. It doesn't, like, this is a really big problem. And this will affect the country from the cost of, a lot of our agriculture is out there. Lettuce that you eat, is grown in Arizona, stuff like that, right? This is very early. And then, the effect on people out there, the cost to cool. There's data centers out there. That's a big problem. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Okay.
Yep.
And Colin's exactly right. This week's Western U.S. heat wave is truly one of the most extraordinary heat waves in U.S. history. And that is true. Thermal California in the Coachella Valley, been there. It's forecast to hit 114 Friday, obliterating the U.S. March record of 108, and possibly even passing the U.S. April record of 113. That's valid for March the 20th. This is a really big deal, folks. Like, I'm sorry, it is. Sorry, not sorry. CJ says that a lot when we're out there.
Sorry, not sorry.
Right. Like, and the reason it is that it's happening is a very strong ridge of high pressure developing in the upper levels of the atmosphere. And we can see that here. We'll look at the GFS in the upper dynamics. You can look at the height anomaly. So the air, of course, is thick, right? And when there's less air, you get low pressure. When there's more air, you get high pressure. And this anomaly shows you how thick that air is compared to the climatology. And we are talking
that is wild.
Almost the upper end. Let's get the stroke line bigger here of the scale for how thick that dome is. And then the actual height line of 594.
Wow.
That is a thick chunk of air. So you have to go 5,940 meters into the atmosphere to get to the 500 millibar level.
That's insane.
Yes, you have to go higher up to get to 500 millibars.
Yep.
You understand? And so the atmosphere is thicker at that moment. And that means the air is sinking and like people out there, I'm being silly here, but people in Yuma and Thermal and elsewhere, Coachella Valley, you can literally feel the air pushing down on Yuma. Oh my goodness. Like, this is really serious.
It is.
And it's going to dry out all of this area out here way, way, way quicker than it should be. So the water is going to dry up sooner. It's going to wick it out, and it's gone until the pattern changes. Maybe next winter with El Nino, we can get a little bit of a saving grace, but we'll see.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I make a big deal about it because it really is. There's that. Look how anomalously low the pressure is in the east. So there's your equal and opposite reaction, right? Physics.
It's crazy. It's like being shoved down and then the vacuum coming off. That's just wild, man.
Now, the good thing is with northwest flow over the plains here, it shuts down the severe weather setup. Okay.
Yes, it does. Thankfully, for now.
So that'll be rolled up for a bit. We can just kind of look at just that ridge, just like a huge balloon.
Yep.
Just inflating. Good grief. Wow. So finally that relents a little bit. It holds on for quite a while, though, to be honest with you.
Yeah, a couple of weeks.
Then some more troughing tries to come in to the west.
Scour it out.
And then the ridge, look, CJ, right about the time that I'll be in your neck of the woods for the National Hurricane Conference, we got a big fat ridge sitting over Florida. You're going to be looking at 90s in Florida if this verifies.
Yep. It'll be 95 with 70-degree dew points in Orlando while you're down here.
Fine with me. I'll take it.
Hey, hopefully, if anything, we can get some sea breeze thunderstorms out of it, but doubtful.
But the GFS doesn't show a lot of southwest flow anytime soon. But once we get into the first week of April, that'll probably change. We'll worry about that later. But
exactly.
Ridge trough. Wow. I mean, that is remarkable.
It is. It's absolutely nuts.
So here's another way to look at it, too. After an early run of storm systems brought drought relief and severe storms to the southern plains, the Midwest in late February, early March, the pattern shuts down for a couple of weeks, just like I showed you. Back to the ridge west, trough east, and mostly quiet and warm for the lower 48 through late March.
Yep.
There's your precipitation anomaly. That's dry, folks. And I'm telling you, that's a problem.
Yep.
Last I checked, we're made up of mostly water with our bodies. and water and carbon and some other stuff. I think Walter White broke that down in one of the episodes of Breaking Bad on the chalkboard there.
Right.
Just trying to figure out what makes up a human being.
Right.
He was talking to Gretchen. He was, we have carbon and we water,
Right.
whatever. So seriously, like this is not good. Okay. And I'm not trying to be, sensational or whatever. Like this is the fact. You
Right.
see that, that's not a good thing. And Matt Harding would jump right on if he couldn't tell you.
Yep.
This will impact the growing season out here where
Yes, it will.
wheat and sorghum and all that stuff. And, that's where all of this is connected. Okay. Okay. What else? Oh yeah. Snowpack. Hold on. Braylon's texting me. Can't ignore the family. What time are you taking my car? We'll deal with that later, Braylon. She's got to get her inspection done, and I'm helping
right.
Lowest snowpack on record. Not only goes back to 1987, so it's not like thousands of years of history here, but
right.
1987. Still. That's the first time I saw U2 in concert. That's a long time ago. Had to come back to that, CJ.
Yeah.
But this is a real problem out here too. Again, for the environmental stuff, the impact to all that, but the economy. Again, the snow economy. I've seen all kinds of videos coming out of Utah, people skiing in spring conditions with dirt and rocks and brown in Utah. Like, really? So that'll impact the snow economy, which is a really big deal. And then people are going to start leaving, and then your real estate values start to go down. I'm speculating here, obviously, but it does have a ripple effect if it stays, if this pattern stays locked in. And
yes, it does.
We don't see any sign of a big snowstorm out there.
Nope.
So I think they're done. So that's a problem. Lastly, before we get into our Tech Tuesday, Tropical Storm Narelle has begun tracking Cyclone, steadily towards the North Queensland area, where it's expected to make landfall as a severe Category 4 tropical cyclone before entering the Gulf of Carpentaria. I think that's how you say that, the GOC, and making another severe impact in the vicinity of Groot. I am Groot. Sorry, couldn't. Come on, that was handed to me on a silver platter. I realize that Groot is missing the E from Marvel. Anyway, I am Groot. Beyond that, ensemble guidance is suggesting the potential for Narelle to become a formidable cyclone off the Pilbara coast of Western Australia. So, attention, Josh. We should call him up real quick. Josh, you going to Australia, buddy? But no, it's cyclone season in the Southern Hemisphere. Yep. And our friends in Australia, yikes. I know Vanda will appreciate we're talking about this. Our friend Vanda on the social media there, the YouTubes, right?
Yep.
There's a track for it. Yeah. I like these names they got down there. Cooktown and Wujal or whatever. But yep, keep an eye on this, see what happens. 9:42. Of course, the winds blow clockwise around these.
Yeah, that's right.
So we'll check in and see how that unfolds over the coming days. Okay, my Tech Tuesday for today is get a new chair. We'll see if Mark ever gets a new chair. Yesterday's stream, and thank you, CJ, for arranging all of that, you and Mike and everybody that makes the back end work, and Scott Caseman, again, that's not his real name, coming down to help. We started the live streaming revolution, and that's a fact, in 2005 with Hurricane Katrina. First ones to ever do it was right here at Hurricane Track. And ever since then, we have gone through all kinds of iterations of technology to do it better. We were using Sprint air cards back then we migrated over to Verizon, and then the hotspots came along. We had 3G, 4G, now we're in 5G. There was ultra wideband. What was T-Mobile's WiMAX or something from Sprint that was a total disaster? Remember WiMAX? That was terrible. And then Sprint bought T-Mobile. And now we have Starlink. And low Earth orbit based internet, I thought would be 20, 30 years away. And instead, literally this morning, if the rocket indeed went up, I don't know if it did, they launched 9 or 10 more. And I think SpaceX has 10,000. It was literally starting to be. You see that movie WALL-E from Pixar, or the billions of satellites around the Earth, and the rocket goes through, and they all break up like when you scatter dust. Anyway, I am very, very happy that our stream yesterday was, I think, the very first one in the whole 20 years we've been doing this that was 100% flawless, where we never had a dropped frame. Yep. And we see that on our end through the software that we use. Some of this I will keep proprietary and lip sealed on it. We have a way to monitor it from the vehicle. And I'll get this little red banner that says cannot connect to server when that internet is gone. We never saw it a single time. And we were doing it, and I will tell you this because, hey, I think it's neat. The tech is amazing. We are streaming almost primarily over Starlink now.
Which is awesome.
We have 2 of them, 2 Starlink minis sitting in the back of the Tacoma on the old remnants of the Hail Guard. They run down into a big Pelican case where we have a sophisticated setup, we'll call it, that bonds those 2 Starlinks together with an AT&T hotspot that was provided to us by one of our crowdfunding supporters, a gentleman named Pete down in Charleston. All 3 of those bonded together. We had a flawless stream yesterday. Absolutely perfect. Never once did it buffer or disconnect that I'm aware of. If it did, that was infrastructure back-end stuff. That was not the upstream side. And the technology, holy cow. So what we're going to do with that through some more testing, we tested our drone yesterday, and this will be the first time I kind of put this out there. Our intention, starting in late April through June, is to take this technology with drone technology and start to show our audience the genesis of how a tornado forms in Tornado Alley. That is our angle to contribute to the science and the fascination of tornadoes. There are thousands of people out there. We didn't want to get in the way. Didn't want to be another storm chaser, crazy storm chaser just in the way. I wanted to be able to contribute something. And now we could do the drone part, but I want to do it live because live is best. And we are this close to having it perfect. We tested it yesterday. There's a few glitches that we're trying to figure out, but that's the thing. That's what we're aiming to do. And at the end of April, CJ and I will head out, and our goal will be to set up the day with a talking weather. What are we expecting for tornadoes that day, whenever we're out there, and then take you on an educational journey of the science behind what does it take for a tornado to form. And then we want to show that to you from the drone from a couple of miles away. None of this 0 metering stuff. Sorry, not for me. And we want to try to unravel why some supercells produce tornadoes and some do not. And I think if you get enough of them captured from the drone, and CJ, that'll be a big part of his role, is watching that velocity couplet. See, this is where everything is connected. This is why we give you these little tutorials. That's what we're going to all put together later. We get there and we stay just south of it and just east. You know, they always stay south, the ASS method. And it's not a cuss word, it's an acronym. ASS. Always stay south. Learned that from Nordstrom. That we put that drone up just before Genesis happens, just before it tightens up enough to drop a funnel. And because the drone that we'll be using has the ability for the camera to pan up, it's like 70 degrees or something. We can, and it can zoom in too. Like we were testing all of this yesterday, and it was amazing. We should be able to capture enough data. Remember, video is data. Then hand off to people for free, because we are funded on the front end. Remember, that's what that QR code is for. We get all of our funding up front. We don't sell video. It's all part of a community that we can then put that out there, and maybe, I don't know, we're going to see observation as the first part of research. Absolutely. Always. And so we're going to observe the genesis of tornadoes from a different perspective. And we're going to bring you along with us on that journey.
Right, and we will have, the ability to also, we'll have a couple kestrel drops with us. We'll
Yep.
have actual atmospheric data so we can, back it up as, with our video data, as Josh
Yep.
Morgan said, that's what he likes to do.
Right.
So, we'll have that ability to have a couple of different looks into these cells as they begin their life cycle. And, we're going to hopefully try to contribute to why tornado genesis happens in some supercells and others it doesn't.
Right. Because I think being able to look down from the drone and
Mm-hmm.
see what's happening on the ground even
Yep.
before the condensation funnel gets down. We'll talk more about this later when we get
Yeah.
into the plan of procedure. But we are very excited about it. Still going to go after the hail. No, not walking away from the hail project at all. But so many times we've been out there looking for the hail that freaking tornadoes have developed, and
Mm-hmm.
we had to get off the hail
Yeah,
because
exactly.
there's a bear's cage now, and you can't be messing with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was
Yep.
like, wait a minute, what can we do when there are those tornado days? I don't want to just walk away and do nothing.
Yeah.
And so we'll combine the two, where we're going to keep studying the hail, but we're also going to go after the tornadic days where that is the primary threat.
Yep.
And try to understand tornado genesis better. And then once it's on the ground, these drones will stay up there for a good 40 minutes.
Oh, exactly.
Stay with it as best we can. And Scott and I were talking yesterday, CJ, there could be scenarios, especially since we're going to be a couple miles away,
Mm-hmm.
and the front row, so to speak, will be crowded with chasers. We should be less crowded where we are,
Right.
that we could literally drive down the road with the drone in the air, both kind of staying with the tornado a little bit better. There's a lot of scenarios where
There's
this
a lot
could
of
really
there
be.
absolutely is. There are a ton of ways, that ton of angles literally, that we can approach this from, and we're really excited. We may be being joined by some good friends out in the field
Yep.
too. So we're gonna
Working
have
on that.
we're gonna have a lot of firepower to throw at this, and we're really excited to do that. So
Yep. So that's our Tech Tuesday. It's more of an announcement, because yesterday I'm actually even more glad that we didn't have a lot of tornadoes dropping from the skies, because that would have made it much more painful, to celebrate this achievement. And I'll be selfish about it. Yay, I'm glad, because it made my day easier. Trying to dodge tornadoes, that would have been like, eek.
right.
But we did. We got to do our own literal wet dress of technology. And again, we started this way back in 2005 with a Sprint air card plugged into a laptop that would stream on 3G 50 to 70 kilobits per second, thousands of bits per second at best. The very first stream that we ever did was 180 pixels by 120 pixels at 30 kilobits per second, no audio. That was the remote cam. The vehicle, Tahoe, always had audio because we used Firewire and a video camera, and the audio from that always sounded like you were in the water. It was terrible, but we did have audio. And I had to learn real quick when to shut my mouth when there's a microphone running in the car all the time. That was fun. A couple times Jesse was like, you're live, right? Like,
Oopsie.
But how far we've come now that we can stream just about in 4K.
Yeah. I mean, this is going to be great. The amount of technology, and again, that's all thanks to folks like you. Again, if you want to help support, QR code.
I'm going to be talking about that coming up later in the month and into April. We do have a little bit of a budget we need to come up with to supplement all of this, to make sure that we don't run out of money for hurricane season, because we will have a hurricane season, whether or not it's the Southwest that we're going to more than the East. We'll see. But between the East Pack and the Gulf and the Southwest Atlantic, I think we will have stuff to worry about.
Exactly.
Crowdfund me a new chair, please. No, I'm kidding. It's on me. I need to literally come in here and put some things under there. Like I need to get a dowel and put the chair up, and put the dowel in place, and then gorilla tape the dowel so the chair just can't sink. But when I'm done with the show, I usually go do other stuff, and I forget that the chair is, and then I come back, and it's just a recurring procrastination problem.
Right.
I'm not poor. I can afford a chair. I'm just, anyway. But I'm about ready to throw this chair out into the hallway, though.
So apparently the QR code isn't visible. It should be up above me to the right.
Yeah, it's right. It's gone now, there, gone, but there.
Yeah, I see it.
I'm looking at it.
That's insane.
Anyway.
But yeah, like you know, some of the things that, you know, we got some great plans cooked up, and I'm really excited.
Yeah,
and the
and
team's really
imagine
excited.
being able to start with us. We'll be in Central Time when we do this, so the
Right.
show will be 9 Central, 10 Eastern.
9 Central.
And we start the day off with our usual stuff, and then we'll look at the tornado threat for wherever we are, lay things out very scientifically for you.
Yep.
And then we will give you a start time. We will be in the vehicle at noon, 1 o'clock, whatever.
Right.
And then you literally come with us. And I know you see this from other chasers, but the difference here, what we want to do is basically bring you in a classroom setting out into the field. And we're going to be working with CJ, and we're going to be working with Greg Nordstrom, who is going to be joining our show. I think he's coming on Friday, by the way, as I sink down. I'm just going to let myself sink until I reach the bottom here. Now I'm short. My knees are about to hit my elbows, but yeah, Greg's going to go. There you go. Thanks, CJ. I feel like Lord Farquaad from Shrek.
But yeah, we're going to have Greg out there, and Greg is one of the greatest forecasting minds of the current generation.
He's going to be joining us as a contributor too, by the way, starting Friday. We do have Jen Naramore coming up on Thursday. Have no idea where she is.
I don't think she's still down here. I think she's leaving this week.
Right.
Maybe.
She's headed to Mississippi at some point for the symposium. Yep. Anyway, lots of amazing stuff coming up, and we look forward to bringing it to you as we move through the coming weeks. So I think we're done for today, though. That should just about do it for today's Talking Weather. Appreciate everybody tuning in, your support, your comments, your engagement. That's very important too. And we'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday. We'll figure out something cool to talk about, I am sure.
Absolutely.
Thanks for hanging with me, CJ, and everybody else.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
That's CJ. We'll see you tomorrow.
See y'all later.
Bye.